What's going on? Welcome to this episode of me talking about franchising. And if you've landed here, there's a reason you're watching this video. You're probably thinking about buying a franchise, and perhaps you've thought about buying a franchise in the home service segment. Now, this is a segment that has exploded, which is good and challenging for you as you navigate or try to figure out what franchise brand makes sense for you. So in this video, I want to give you some of the tools for you to have the right pathway to buying. Now, first things first, if you're watching this Growth Club video, many people buy a home service franchise through the broker, franchise consultant, franchise coach network. One thing that I want to educate you on is the truth of how the franchise brokers or consultants work. Now, very similar to a real estate agent, there's a ton of work that goes into them helping you find the right franchise opportunity for you. And they've done tremendous work in the home service category because of the speed to deal, meaning from the time you decide you want to buy a franchise to the time you sign up and buy a franchise, it's fairly fast. What you need to know and make sure that they're being transparent with you is there is a cost of doing business, and all of them get paid, especially those that say we coach for free. They do not coach for free. There's a commission paid. And so the way that it typically works is there's going to be a franchise fee associated to you buying that franchise, whether that's $20,000 or $40,000 or $60,000. And the franchisor, in exchange for them finding and matching you with that brand, will pay a portion of that fee. It could be $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 back to the franchise broker for helping broker that deal. And so I think it's important for you to note, especially in the home service segment, which is where the broker community has exploded in, is that there is a payment for this. Now with Growth Club, what we ended up doing is every brand pays exactly the same commission, because when they don't, then a franchise consultant could guide you towards a brand that might pay them more than the other brand. This has been a heavy frustration for me, because it's ultimately your life savings that is going into the business, not the franchise broker, consultant, or coach. And so that's the table stakes. Like, let's just start with transparency, because then now when they're helping you, you know that you're not paying anything up front. In most cases, you're not having to engage them as a consultant. Same with using a real estate agent. But if you sign a deal, they will get paid on you making the decision to sign. It is right. It's just like buying a car. There's a car salesperson that helps you. Buying a house, there's a real estate agent. This is how business works. But let's just make sure that there's a transparency on this at the front end. Okay, at this point, you either use a consultant or you want to go direct to brand. Direct to brand means you've Googled home service franchises, top home service franchises. You read an article on 1851franchise.com. And now you've gone on the journey. You've gone direct to the brand. You click on the link, you fill out a form, and now you're talking directly with the brand. Here's typically how this process works. You have a set amount of money. My recommendation is have enough money to buy 3 of those units of that brand, whatever brand you land on. I don't think you should sign a 3-unit agreement, because if you do, then you're tying up some of your capital into protecting your territory or owning your territory. I would talk about or negotiate first right of refusal on areas around your territory if it is available. But I wouldn't tie up your capital in holding or reserving future spots, because you want to make sure unit 1 is deeply and smartly successful. And so when you're looking at the number, let's say it's a $100,000 investment, you multiply that by 3, that's going to be $300,000 to have 3 of them. You're only going to spend $100 to get the first one open. Let's say you need franchise fee, we'll call it $40, and then you need another $20 in cash, liquid cash, to get the rest of the financing. So call it $60,000. And then if you multiply that by 3, you want somewhere in the range of $150,000 to $180,000. What that will allow you to do is you get unit 1 open. Now you can have enough to scale. Now you can have enough for a rainy day. How do you find what you're passionate about? Now, some people will have some sort of trade background, like you've worked in that category: HVAC, pool service, cleaning, power washing, roof repair. There's a ton of them. So most likely you will have had some experience in this category. And so that could drive your passion. But when I'm looking at brands, this is how I would approach it. Money plus passion. Now let's look at brands. And in the home service category, you got to understand, like, your royalty, the percentage that you're going to pay off of the gross dollar that you bring in, needs to account for something. And so when I'm putting apples to apples, I'm looking at what are the resources that are going to support me as a franchise owner so that I can get the best return on me paying the royalty. The royalty is necessary, but you're accessing support for labor, you're accessing support for supply chain, you're accessing support for operations and marketing, all these things that you're accessing support for. And so when you're doing apples to apples, you want to make sure that aligns with what your royalty is. And so there are multi-brand franchisors. I like the multi-brand franchisors because the economies of scale that go to support you is really strong. And if you take all that intel that they have, let's say they own a pool service brand, a power washing brand, and a roof brand, well, they're able to look at the customer behavior and use that to start driving how are they going to help you find more customers. So you could certainly put your money into a single unit or a single brand franchisor, or you could say, what else is there? So you know the money that you have, you know what you're passionate about, you've started your journey to find the franchise. Now, this is where I would expand your list. Compare, put a few more brands in that category, and you're going to compare. Is there a clear point of differentiation on the product? Meaning, will I know how to market this in my market? Is it a race to the bottom for what I'm going to charge? It's important to understand that data point. So the product, the leadership, do I believe in their vision? Am I impressed by it? How much does it cost to get in? What's the potential I can make as disclosed in item 19 of the FDD? Where can I open in the market that I want to open in? And what does validation look like? On the validation side, and you can watch videos on how to perform this, but you want to talk to existing franchisees and say, did all of that align with your expectations? Would you do this again? That's really the two most important questions to ask a franchisee if you get in front of them. This will help you set the pathway to getting to owning a franchise. But again, if you don't go into the home service category with scale on the mind, it's okay, but most likely you're buying yourself a job. And I would imagine if you're watching this, you want to buy something more than a job. You want to build up a business that can scale and build wealth for you and your family. And therefore, you have to align, even if it doesn't align perfectly with what your vision was. Like if you wanted to open up a McDonald's tomorrow, you might not have the capital to do so, but you scale backwards and you set your goals as a human, and then you align what are you trying to accomplish back against that. And you can look at a million different franchise opportunities to make sure it fits what you're trying to accomplish. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of support. If you haven't already, you go back to the 1851franchise.com page at the top. You can click on the franchise masterclass. It will give you great insight into more of how franchising works. We built that as a guide to help support you on your journey to becoming a franchise owner. But this should give you some guidelines. The home service franchise category is beautiful. Every homeowner needs services. Nobody wants to do the things that you're going to own a business around. And if you can align the labor good labor pool back to what you're trying to accomplish, it can be a very, very, very beautiful category. I wish you the best of luck on your hunt for buying a franchise. Again, you could go to the Growth Club. We're here to help. Again, we get commissioned if you buy, but we'll tell you how that works as a part of our process to make sure that we're on both sides. We're living our best lives with integrity. Take care.